Yes, how to identify a relationship going nowhere. No, it's true, so that you don't waste your time. Number one, words don't match action. Words don't match actions. Words don't match action. You know why I'm telling you those things? So that when you fall in love, there'll be something you can go back to and read. Because these things, you know them. But once you fall in love, you forget. So the first thing is that words don't match action. The second thing is this: regular conflict over trivial matters. Regular conflict. So there's no harmony in that relationship. Some of you are like, you're calculating that we are. That's a good place to be. Number 3, conflicts are hardly resolved. They are just swept under the carpet. And the reason why that's an issue is that unresolved conflicts are like toxic materials. They stay alive even though you have abandoned them. Glory to God. The fourth one is this: poor or no communication. Single people, this is why sex when you're dating is not a great idea, because you're going to really sexualize the relationship and kill the communication. You're going to just sexualize it. Every time you end up saying the guy's trying to have sex, then when he has sex, he's so exhausted from the sex, he's going to be trying to sleep off. Then when he wakes up, then he has to go. And that's it. So you see people that say they spend all their time together. And this is what ladies don't know. Once you have a very sexual relationship, once the lady says she's coming, the guy starts thinking of sex. And once the guy starts thinking of sex, he doesn't think of any other thing again. Even when you come and you have serious issues to discuss, once he thinks of sex, everything you say is right until he has sex. Can I get an amen? So you're saying, I have something to discuss with you. Oh yeah, let's discuss. This is yeah. What happens is, no, you're very correct. You're very correct. Can we not go inside? Can we not go inside? You don't even know what I'm inside. Something's doing me right now. I'm thinking, see, that's why I said you're sorry. Because all of the energy is to get into the bedroom. So whatever you're discussing, the level of agreement, of alignment is very high because the person is not listening. So one of the things you want to check about your relationship is that the way you really get to talk. And let me say something to you. As this also affects those that have a lot of sex, it affects those that don't have sex. Because sometimes when church people get to date, because of the church experience, we, in a bid not to have sex, we stay apart so much, we don't have a lot of conversation. I'm telling you, the very, very serious born agains, in a bid not to have sex, since you cannot sleep over, you cannot stay too long with each other alone, in a bid to do that, we stay away so much so that we should not have sex. All right. So the other thing is this. So I've given the first one is that what's the match? What's the match action? The second thing is that regular conflict over tribal issues, because what it means that you guys don't tolerate each other. You can't tolerate each other. So very simple things cause fights. See, there's a lot of fights you have when you're single that you should consider that this will not work. Because why are you fighting so much? It's either there's something wrong with your combination or perspective. And the other issue is that, so I can give all the scriptures, difficult situations are very hardly resolved. Then another thing is that this is very powerful. Your emotions are not valued. Your emotions. So like, why are you crying? Why are you crying, Seth? Your emotions are not valued. Because if you get into that kind of marriage, you begin to hide eventually. You begin to hide because you feel as if nobody wants to be in a marriage where the emotions are not valued. let me tell you something. I was sharing with a friend of mine. I said, I may not be right, but my emotions are right within me. Value my emotions. So my point will be useless, but my emotion is right, because only my emotion is based on a useless point. But because I feel this way, that is a reason for you to pay attention. So when you're in a relationship where your emotions are very powerful, because when emotions are not valued, it will really hurt you deep down later on. It really hurts you. So maybe let me talk from a guy's perspective. Maybe a guy says, "Oh, I feel disrespected." I'm like, "What's disrespecting you then?" That's why I talk to my father. And when you say that, you don't really, maybe it's not that you look down his emotion, but you don't understand his emotion. Maybe the lady told you that, "Oh, this thing actually pained me." You're like, "Why are you crying? What's painful about that?" I only say you do this now. The fact that it pains somebody that you love is the reason to pay attention. It's not about right, it's not about wrong. It's just a good reason to what? Pay attention. And sometimes they're not right, but when you pay attention, because they matter to you, you can explain it and be like, "Oh, this is how I see it." And they can come to the conclusion that, "Oh, wow." Because emotion is based on information. So the information might be wrong, or the perspective might be wrong. All right, so the next thing is this. So I don't want to quickly jump over this because it's not my main message. Yeah, so the next is it. You pretend to make your partner happy. Ladies, this mostly ladies. You pretend to make your partner happy. Then there's a lot of secrecy. Then the next one is, so these are things you want to check in your relationship. Focusing on what is wrong and what is not what is right. So in that relationship, there's a lot of focus on what is wrong, not what is right. And the next one is assuming the worst. There was a lady in the choir that asked a question earlier. Is she here? Or she's gone with the other service? Oh, she's gone. She said, "Pastor, what about when he's not picking up the phone? When he's not picking up the phone? When he's not picking up the phone?" I said, "Oh, yeah. I said, he said, "What should I do?" I said, "Ask him why he's not picking up the phone." He said, "Why must you ask every time?" I said, "The only reason why you're not asking is because you assume something, or you don't believe what he's saying." I said, "So why are you dating someone that you don't trust?" If someone has not given the reason not to trust them, trust them. If someone gives you a reason not to trust them, don't trust them. But you just assume that for him not to be picking up the phone, he's with somebody else. Where do you get that from? It's a carryover from another relationship. Because he's not done it to you, but someone else have done it, or you've heard it from somebody, and you're judging him based on another person's mirror. So why not just ask him persistent and say, "Hey, why are you not picking up your phone?" And someone says, "What about if you give the same excuse all the time?" Just believe it. Let me tell you something. You will live a very sad life if you assume the worst of your partner. You know what you have? Self-torture. By yourself. You'll be torturing yourself. By yourself. You'll be giving yourself a pay. Nobody has to torture you, because you will just be torturing yourself. Hey, my God. Maybe he's dating somebody else right now. Just self-torture. Someone was sharing with me one time that the girlfriend wanted to come to the house. So I told the girlfriend, "Please don't come, I'm tired." Next thing, the girl showed up. And the reason why the girl showed up was this: to just check if who is in your house that is making you tired, that you told me not to come. Eventually got there, and he saw he was in a deep sleep, and she felt embarrassed. And I said, "But you didn't have to have done that if you just trusted his word." And let me tell you something: if you eventually got there, you now found somebody, you'll be happy, right? That action, there's no way it will end up into